give you the mighty van-halen!
Oh, look at all the people here tonight!
It is now officially 51-50.
You ever speak to me like that again, better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I am Dave.
And it is episode 57, Dave. We are in the fall of 2020, the final quarter, the top of the fourth, as we go through this miserable fucking year, which started off beautiful. In Vegas,
it did.
Oh my God, that was so much fun. And now it seems like it was another eon ago that happened, even though it was only like 9 months ago. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But
you know, when I think of 57, I think of Heinz 57.
oh yeah, of course, exactly.
So
Heinz 57. That's right. And by the way, do you know that on the Heinz ketchup bottle there is a 57 on the bottle? Do you want to know why?
that's where you're supposed to put your hand to pour the ketchup?
Well, that's where you kind of hit it to get the ketchup to come out.
Okay.
You got to ask John Kerry about that.
Oh, is that right?
Well, his wife is, I guess, the
Oh,
Heinz.
that's right. She's Mrs. Heinz.
She's Mrs. Heinz. Right, exactly.
That's right.
Well, plenty of condiments in that house.
Yes, I'm sure.
That's for sure. Well, we are on to our Van Halen news.
Van Halen.
News! And oh my God, Dave, what will this fall bring? There are albums in the balance. Will they come out? Who knows? We're going to talk about some of them in Van Halen news, and the first one we're going to talk about is Wolfie. My God. Well, we all know that Wolf is putting out his album at some point. We don't know if it's going to be 2020 or not, but he is talking up a storm on social media. So what I did was, because he tweets and Instagrams so much that I compile it all down for you guys. So we're going to talk about some of it. But he's nice enough. He's given out a lot of info on his albums. What I've sort of done is taken out the pearls and sewn them together so we have some sort of a semblance of information about the album. So, number one, there's no instrumentals on the album. There's vocals on every track, which I found interesting. I actually thought there were going to be some instrumentals. What did you think of that, Dave?
I thought he might throw one in there, but all vocal tracks? All right, interesting.
Now, he also said, this is a quote from Wolf, "I think people might be surprised with the variety of the vibes on the album," which means there's going to be a lot of different styles of music. So that's sort of interesting.
That won't make it boring.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, so far what we've heard is basically rock, but we're just curious to see what's out there. Another nugget said nothing out of the ordinary in terms of different kind of instruments, though. So he's basically playing bass and guitar and drums and some keys, and he's singing. So there's nothing crazy. But he did say he used the original Frankenstein guitar on 2 songs. So that's kind of a nice little Van Halen fact there for you.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm curious to hear how those sound with that guitar.
Mm-hmm. And he also used his dad's OG 1957 ES335. And he said it was the turning peg crumbled in his fingers when he tried to tune it, if you can believe that, because the guitar was so old. So that was interesting. So it must be nice being able to have a playground to use all of Eddie's equipment. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be awesome.
Right. He's got, not only does he have the equipment, He's got the studio, he's got everything sort of at his fingertips, which is nice. Another nugget came out, he says influences. People were asking him questions, and he was actually pretty open in answering comments. And some people were just downright fucking rude. I'm going to tell you right now. It's so upsetting. It's ridiculous. The people on social media, I mean, this whole nastiness that goes on there, it's amazing. People are just bored, and I mean, they're like attacking Wolf, and he's got a pretty good sense of humor about it. But it's
but he takes the bait more often than he should.
Yeah, no, agreed. But he shared a bunch of stuff. So he says, in terms of his influences, he says influences can be heard in certain areas, but overall, I like to think it's got its own original sound. But he said there's possibly a Tool influence there, because we know he's a big fan of Tool, so that's cool. Someone asked him, is it ever coming out? And he said yes. And when they said when, and when they said when, he said soon. And then he said, I'm working on a release plan I'm very excited about with my label. Interesting. So that should be coming. We don't know if it's this fall. I'm hoping it's this fall. If not, it's going to be a while, I think.
I don't know, dude. It's already September.
Well, here's the thing. You know, the more and more I start talking to people in the industry, because of what I do for a living, I start hearing things. Now people are saying concerts earliest next fall. So I was like, what? We're going to skip the whole summer again? It doesn't surprise me at all. And the reason why I say that, yes, I know concerts are going on. Dave went to go see the Van Halen tribute band and this and that. I'm talking about concert, like full-blown, like Madison Square Garden or Stadium or Shed, like full-blown national acts, like regular size concerts, not small stuff. Small stuff will probably go on in a social distancing capacity and all that kinds of stuff. But I'm talking about like
major acts going on a national tour,
like major regular shows. Yeah. So, and if that's the case, if Wolf's going to wait for that, that is going to be a long time before. So anyway, I
agree.
Yeah, it's very strange. Someone asked, "Is there any chance of you doing?" Excuse me. Someone asked. I asked. I sent him. Someone asked. So anyway, I asked him a question, and I figured maybe I slip one in there, you know. And I didn't think my question was out of line, you know. I said, "Any chance of you doing a live stream performance online from 5150 featuring your solo material?" I thought that would be a really cool idea. Now that's kind of a fun, different thing that he could do in announcing his solo stuff. And I mean, I think a lot of people would tune in for that. Never answered me, Dave. Never answered me. I never heard a word. So what can you do?
Isn't that at least the second question you've asked you haven't gotten an answer to?
Yes, the other one that I asked was last month. I said, are we going to see the album in 2020? You know what I mean? Like at some point in this calendar year. Never answered that one either. I think he's on to me. He's
on to your polite questions?
He's on to my polite, direct, specific questions, yes. Someone asked, did you even do background vocals? And he says, yes, every vocal you'll hear, every instrument you'll hear, it's all by me. So when someone asked him about touring, he said, absolutely, I have a band picked out and ready to go when the time is right. That's very curious to me. I'm wondering if he did assemble a band, or is the band Uncle and Dad?
No, I think the band is not Ed and Al.
Well, if you remember Mitch LaFon's comment, do you remember that?
I know Mitch LaFon's comment, but I'm under the impression that it's other players.
Oh, yeah?
I would bet that it is not Ed and Al.
Okay.
And it's some other people.
All right. The reason why I said that is because of what Mitch said. Remember that Van Halen will be back, but not the way you expected it, like that kind of thing?
I know, but isn't that, Dave, that's like wasn't that like a year ago now?
That was a year and a half ago now.
Okay, well, I think things might have changed since then.
Well, obviously. So... Yeah, obviously. So now he also said, in terms of playing live, I'll be singing and playing guitar mainly, maybe keys if the songs call for it, but I wouldn't be opposed to hopping on the kit for a tune or two if the opportunity arises. So this guy's doing it all. He really is. He really is. He's a man of many talents, this Wolf. Now, he also said that he wrote all the lyrics and he wrote all the music as well. The producer is Elvis Biscuit. The engineer is Jeff Mull. Jeff with one F, by the way. And he recorded most of it at 5150, but not all. Okay, so he also recorded some drum tracks at NRG Studios, and he also did some vocals at his home studio, and some vocals and guitar solos and overdubs at Elvis Biscuit's studio. He reiterated there's no special guests whatsoever, and he said that his father, Edward Van Halen, had no involvement whatsoever. He said, it's only going to be the old Wolfman on this thing. So I'm considering he's calling himself Wolfman, I'm starting to think that's the name I'm going to call him. Wolfman. I like that. That's cool.
Well, you graduated from Wolfie, so that's
right.
a good progression.
That's right. So now, interesting enough, someone asked, when you play live, will you play any Van Halen? Like maybe like, not like so much Running with the Devil, but As Is, maybe, something like that? A firm no from the Wolfman. Wow. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now this is where it gets a little interesting. So there's this guy by the name of Brian Bayer, and he said, he didn't do anything bad here. This guy just, you know how some people do this. They ask questions to get an answer for everybody to see what the variety of answers are. This happens on the web all the time. There's nothing wrong with this comment. So he says, who are the bands that no longer exist that you've seen live? And he says, for me, it's The Clash, The Smiths, R.E.M., Oasis, The Police, The Replacements, Jane's Addiction, Van Halen, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So Wolf responded, and this is really telling, said, damn, all this time I thought we existed, but I guess not. So when he says the proverbial we there, does that mean that he is still in the band? Well, we're going to get back to that comment in a minute, because later on he sort of addresses it again. What do you make of that, Dave?
You know what? Maybe technically the band is still together, but they haven't done anything in 5 years.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I know like Tom Petty is dead, you know, and the Clash obviously haven't been around for years, also with a deceased lead singer.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, come on. I mean, Van Halen is, if they were a band, they'd be doing something.
All right, well.
So I don't think this guy is off base.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolf can like toe the company line all he wants. But let's face facts.
Right.
The band, for all intents and purposes, is done.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see. And so listen to this, though. Now, this comment makes it even more interesting. So this guy, Jeremy Gordon, was complaining about Sammy, saying, like, you know, he didn't, like, live up to the Van Halen name. He said, did Sammy pay his dues in the clubs and in the backyard barbecues to build the name? No. And Dave named Van Halen, by the way. And then Wolf said, LOL, are you trying to teach me about the band I'm in? Interesting. So he's in the band. According to him, he's still in the band. But then again...
Well, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that if Van Halen ever got together, he'd be the bass player.
No,
I mean...
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I agree with that.
I mean, I don't think he's out of the band. Right. I'm just saying there is no functioning active band.
Well, is it kind of like saying that we're Villanova students because we went to Villanova, we got a degree from Villanova, we no longer live there or go to the university, but we consider ourselves Villanova students? Because it's more like we're graduates, which would mean you're kind of retired from that community.
We are Villanova alumni. We are not Villanova students.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that guy's comment, I mean, what was the wording he used? Bands that are...
Okay, he says, who are bands that no longer exist that you've seen live?
Well, okay. You know what? It's grasping at straws, but, I mean, really, the guy's point is a valid one. If Van Halen doesn't want to appear as a band that is no longer around, then you need to do something. Like, maybe update your website.
Right.
Or put something online.
Right.
Or throw out a song or two. Yeah. Or let us know what's going on.
Or just release some legacy stuff or something, you know.
Anything. Yeah. I mean, but there's nothing. There's no pulse.
I know.
There's nothing.
I know.
So this guy, so Wolf can be like, whoa, but I mean, come on.
Right.
Let's face facts. It's been 5 years since they've done anything. And hey, listen, if they're retired and they're done,
It's fine.
fine,
Yeah.
no problem.
Right.
But then don't get all up in arms when someone's like, well, what are your favorite bands that aren't around anymore?
That's